People often laugh at Chelsea, say they're dead, say they're finished, but they're not laughing anymore. They've already had a fantastic summer. Of course, on the football pitch, becoming world champions, the inaugural winners of the new look FIFA Club World Cup. They ended the season brilliantly with great performances in the last 6 games, only really losing to Newcastle, and most of that was down to Nico Williams being sent off. They dominated that second half and really were unfortunate to be the recipients of a 2-0 defeat to Newcastle United. The purchases this summer, I think, are somewhat understated so far. No names, no players that maybe jump off the page. There hasn't been a big hype job around Gittins. Delap, many people were sitting on the fence with. Pedro, even myself included, didn't think much of him to begin with. But doing more research, listening to my subscribers and people who are in our community, I reassessed that. And you saw in just the 2 games he played for Chelsea at the Club World Cup, they've signed a seriously talented man. Hato's come in, and we just know how good. We just know how good this man is. In terms of, we know how, let's say, okay, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that to be fair. We know how talented this young man is. They've obviously got young Esteval coming in that everybody around the world is excited about, but still not the same type of hype job that you get around European stars that we're watching on a regular basis. A lot of money has been invested, and I think we're talking 279 million euros thus far. That's from transfermarket.co.uk. Xavi is expected. That's going to push that fee to around 320, 330. Garnacho is expected. That is pushing the levels up to an even higher amount. It's pushing the expenditure nearer the 350, 360, 370 mark. And I keep hearing the same thing again. How can Chelsea do this? How can Chelsea operate like this? It's not fair. Blah, 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 blah. And you've got to take Chelsea seriously. You have to take Chelsea seriously. They're not reckless. They're relentless. Let me repeat that. Chelsea are not reckless. They're relentless. They are trying to build a team that dominates. They're trying to build a team that can compete at the highest level. They're trying to build a team that can replicate what Jose's Chelsea did, what Carlo Ancelotti's Chelsea did. They want to win those more Champions Leagues. They want to add 3. They want to add 4. They also want to grow as a brand. They want to grow as an institution. It's probably a better word than brand. And they're going to do it. And although what I'm about to say to you may not resonate, take it seriously. Take it so seriously. This morning, I need to sip my drink because this is mad. This morning, they completed the sales of Broja and Leslie. I might butcher the name here, Ukachukwa. Combined total of £45 million. We'll put Leslie aside for a minute. They've picked up around 20 million for Broja. A man who can't stay fit. A man who's never fulfilled his potential. A player they do not want. This is nothing short of spectacular. It brings their total summer income. Total summer income now sits somewhere in the region of 228 million. So when I hear people say, how can Chelsea operate like this? Even if you use that dated, massively inaccurate barometer of net spend, that's how. But in reality, what you're now seeing 2 summers running is massive sales. Transfer fees come in. They are recouping large amounts of the money that they spent in those first few years. Yes, they're still spending on their squad, but they're improving their squad. And yes, they've spent over £1 billion. But you look at the outgoings since Clearlake arrived. Genuinely look at the outgoings since they arrived. The first year, only 67 million since they arrived. Year after that, 282. Year after that, 239. This summer, it's going to go well past that. Once Nico Jackson goes, 300 million odds coming in. So they're getting close to £1 billion of income while spending over £1 billion. And they still have a plethora of talent that will be flipped and profits will be made from. And you may be thinking 5 minutes into this, well, how does this help them win, Terry? You said no one's laughing at them anymore. They're going to win again. How? The way you operate in the boardroom, the way you operate as a business, the way you operate, conduct yourself, negotiate, all plays a part in how good you are on the football pitch. Forget the coach for a minute. Forget the talent ID. Forget the system. The way you operate impacts it. If you take a school as an example, doesn't matter whether it's primary school, infant school, university, schools. If the head teacher, if the board of directors, or the board of governors, I think we call them here in the UK, if they're on point and the school is run with a fair but firm iron fist, if there is planning, if there is preparation, if there is budgeting, if there is money invested into that school, if you add all these things, if you add all of these things together and they operate with distinction, they operate with integrity and strength, it's very likely that the teachers that come in and work for you are going to echo that. And then what happens is you get a group of these teachers around you that also echo that behavior. They self-police one another to ensure that standards are maintained. Then when you have the board of directors, the head teacher at that level, and the teachers copying and following suit, the students find it harder to misbehave. The students find it harder to cut corners. The students have higher standards almost organically. And then what does that produce? The football pitch here would be the exam results, the behavior of students, the success that these students have when they graduate and they move on in life. And that is what I'm seeing with Chelsea. You're seeing a team that it's now starting to blossom. People couldn't see it. People didn't understand their methods. People just shout on them because they were new. And what is it they say? People are afraid of things that they don't understand. And in the fear of what Chelsea were doing, it created anger and resentment, and there was annoyance, and there was protest from Chelsea fans. But if you can't see what they're achieving here, if you can't see the method within their supposed madness, although I don't think it's mad or reckless at all, I think you're blind. They've built a phenomenally talented young squad. Yes, I still think they've got to add a goalkeeper. I stand on that. That's it. Outside of it, they're challenging for the league title. They've signed phenomenally gifted players this summer. But the way they're able to sell, the way they're able to raise additional money, additional income through the sale of players. Now, only low IQ people are going to respond negatively to what I'm about to say. If I didn't know any better, I'd think it was illegal. I think it was money laundering. I think they were processing money for some cartel somewhere. You know, Ozark style. There can't be any other reason. But that's if I didn't know any better. That's if I was a little bit of a ding-dong. That's if I was a little bit silly. Because from my point of view, and from my perspective, I can't help but think to myself, the standards are being raised and it's the way they're behaving. You're seeing that come out on the pitch. They've stuck with the manager through some difficult times this year. They've broken a little bit of a trend there. Chelsea fans are going into the season so confident, so excited, so happy. That is also going to reflect on these players. Garnacho, listen, I know a lot of people don't like him, but I think you're right. I don't like how he's behaved at United, but there's been a breakdown of relationships. I've got great friends of mine who I love dearly, both male and female, that have gone through bad breakups and not behaved well, haven't done themselves proud in the process of getting out of that relationship. We've all done that professionally as well. We've all left jobs or gone through, where we've left jobs or we've left departments, maybe not in the best way. Loads of us have done that, or we know people close to us that have done it. That isn't a true reflection of you as a person, because that's the problem with relationships and emotions and everything else. But Garnacho is a top player. And I really do hope that Man United don't get striped up by Chelsea. But I've got a horrible feeling we're going to end up selling him well below value, that he's going to deliver for Chelsea, that he's going to be successful at Chelsea, and we're going to regret the price that he goes for. I truly, truly believe that. And I hope we get a good deal where we're getting a minimum 40 plus million and some add-ons on top. I would still... Listen, this is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but after Scott McTominay, I'd throw a Ballon d'Or nomination clause in there as well. But I don't want to get into negotiations with Chelsea because they're phenomenal. And I'm a strong enough person to admit when a rival club does things well, operates in the correct way. And they're certainly doing it. But what we're seeing from Chelsea, as I've already said, it isn't reckless, it's relentless. They're an absolutely different animal. They're a different beast right now. And I think they are the biggest dark horse going into this season. I think they're being completely and utterly underrated. And you don't even have to watch them kick a ball right now. You can just feel it and you can sense it by the way their owners, their board, their key football decision makers are moving. It's phenomenal. And most of the time, well-run clubs at board level are successful on the football pitch. They go together like fish and chips and birds to a feather. Give me your comments below. Give me your thoughts and feelings. Hit that like and that share button. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.